Krishna. Welcome to all devotees. Now we start today's Bhagavatam class. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrutyam Naram Chaiva Narottamam. देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagavatam Canto first chapter first shloka number first, questions by the sages. First we read श्लोक. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. जन्म आदि अस्य यत अन्वयात् इतरत च अर्थेषु अभिज्ञ स्वराट तेने ब्रह्मरुदाय आदि कवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सुरयः तेजवारी मृदां यथा विनिमय यत्र त्रिसर्ग अमृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्त कुहकम सत्यम परम धीमहि. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. We continuing before that we are doing prayers. Om Gyanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्दे अहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुत पदकमलं श्रीगुरोन् वैष्णवांच श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं सहाद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पदान् सगण ललिता श्री विष्टाकान्वितांच नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्तारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. हरे कृष्णा. Gaurangi Shakti Mataji is continuing this last para of this. Today we completing this shloka.
The chief engineer of
Please start, Mataji.
The chief engineer of a complicated construction does not personally take part in the construction, but he knows every nook and corner because everything is done under his direction. He knows everything about the construction, both directly and indirectly. Similarly, the personality of Godhead, who is the supreme engineer of this cosmic creation, knows every nook and corner, although affairs are being carried out by demigods. Beginning from Brahma down to the insignificant ant, no one is independent in the material creation. The hand of Lord is seen everywhere. All material elements as well as all spiritual sparks emanate from him only. And whatever is created in this material world is but the interaction of two energies, the material and the spiritual, which emanate from the absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. A chemist can manufacture water in the chemical laboratory by mixing hydrogen and oxygen. But in reality, the living entity works in the laboratory under the direction of the Supreme Lord, and the materials with which he works are also supplied by the Lord. The Lord knows everything directly and indirectly, and he is cognizant of all minute details, and he is fully independent. He is compared to a mine of gold, and the cosmic creation is in so many different forms are compared to objects made from the gold, such as gold rings, necklaces, and so on. The gold ring and the gold necklace are qualitatively one with the gold in the mine, but quantitatively the gold in the mine is different. Therefore, the absolute truth is simultaneously one and different. Nothing is absolutely equal with the absolute truth, but at the same time, nothing is independent of the absolute truth. Conditioned souls, beginning from Brahma, who engineers the entire universe down to the insignificant ant, are all creating, but none of them is independent of the Supreme Lord. The materialists wrongly thinks that there is no creator other than his own self. This is called Maya or illusion.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. So we are continuing this first verse, which actually is the beginning of our journey towards understanding absolute truth. So we have already, most of us, been introduced to Krishna, to bhakti, to devotional service. And in the initial part of this particular chapter, this particular purpose that we studied yesterday, we have seen how Krishna is the original personality, supreme personality, who is the creator, the controller. He is Anadir, Adir, Govinda. He is Advitiya. He is Swarupaha. We also saw that he is not some energy or something. He is actual personality. For that, we saw the example how a simple planetary model creation requires a man, a brain of a man. So, what to speak of this whole cosmos? So, there is a personality which is controlling everything, and that personality is nothing but Makana, our Krishna. And we saw that he is ever merciful and he is going to be with us always. And though he is creating everything, it's not that he is a simple layman worker. I was going through one lecture. So there are so many factories which are created. So of Tata Motors. So in each of the factory, there would be certain divisions. And that division is something which is headed by a manager. And that manager reports to some senior manager, and that senior manager reports to a CEO. Now, worker who is working on the shaft or on the ground, he may not have seen who is the CEO or something. So if the CEO at times comes to visit the factory, he may think, okay, he is some just guest. But the fact is, he is the ultimate controller. And if Tata himself comes, Sri Tata himself comes, then he is the one who is the. Similarly, Krishna does not do all the activities. He appoints CEOs. The CEOs appoint managers for the worldly activities to be done. And only when he feels that, okay, he needs to come as per his will, he appears as an incarnation. And at times, he comes directly himself. And when he comes directly himself, who is he? That is what is explained in this Bhagavatam. He is Vasudev Putra Vasudev. He is the child of Devaki. He is Yashodanandan. He is our lovely, beautiful Krishna, one who attracts everyone. So in purport, Prabhupada gives similar example of an engineer who may be doing the complicated construction, but actually he will not be doing the putting the brick here or there or mixing the cements. But because he has created the plan, he knows where is what, and he knows what material is used where, what quantity, what quantum. So similarly, Krishna is supervising everything directly as well as indirectly because he is the engineer of this cosmic creation. And the worldly affairs are being carried out by the demigods. So right from say Brahma to the ant or maybe a coronavirus, no one is independent. Krishna acts everywhere. Whatever material elements we speak about in colleges nowadays, we learn the a table of elements in chemistry. They're all coming from Krishna only. It is actually a interaction between material and spiritual energy. So though the scientist may say that, okay, I'm creating water by mixing hydrogen and oxygen, but who created this hydrogen and oxygen? That is done by Krishna. And who has given him this knowledge that he should mix maybe 2 molecules of hydrogen and 1 molecule of oxygen? That has come by the direction of Krishna. So everything, whatever we think about, directly or indirectly, is always supplied, controlled by Krishna, and no one is ever independent. It's only Krishna who is independent, who is cognizant of all activities. Prabhupada ji gives one more example of gold mine and gold objects. Now, both are compared, both are made of gold. So quality, same. Molecular composition, same. But the quantity is different. So similarly, because we living entities are coming from Krishna, we are his Amsha, Jiva Amsha. But then we are Anu and Krishna is Vibhu. We are dependent on Krishna and Krishna is independent. We are conditioned because we are in this material world. And Krishna is unconditional because he is the owner, the creator. And if someone thinks that, no, I am the creator, I am controller, I am able to do something like this, no, my family, I will take decisions, I am the decision makers, please know this is illusion. Something that does not exist and you feel it exists is nothing but an illusion. Now, in psychiatry, if someone comes with complaints of illusion, the doctor immediately asks him to take medicines, psychotherapy, and so on and so on. So similarly, in this material world, we all are in illusion. And it's important that we take medicines, we take treatment. What is that medicine? What is that treatment? Which we are going to understand over the complete study of this Bhagavad. So we'll request Mataji to continue further. Hare Krishna.
Because of his poor fund of knowledge, the materialist cannot see beyond the purview of his imperfect senses, and thus he thinks that matter automatically takes its own shape without the aid of a superior intelligence. This is refuted in the shloka by Srila Vyasadeva. Since the complete whole or the absolute whole is the source of everything, nothing can be independent of the body of the absolute truth. Whatever happens to the body quickly becomes known to the embodied. Similarly, the creation is the body of the absolute whole. Therefore, the absolute knows everything directly and indirectly that happens in the creation. In the Shruti mantra, it is also stated that the absolute whole or Brahman is the ultimate source of everything. Everything emanates from him and everything is maintained by him. And at the end, everything enters into him. That is the law of nature. In the Smriti mantra, the same is confirmed.
Continue.
It is said that the source from which everything emanates at the beginning of Brahma's millennium and the reservoir to which everything ultimately enters is the absolute truth or Brahman. The material scientists take it for granted that the ultimate source of the planetary system is the sun, but they are unable to explain the source of the sun. Herein, the ultimate source is explained according to the Vedic literatures. Brahma, who may be compared to the sun, is not the ultimate creator. It is stated in this shloka that Brahma was taught Vedic knowledge by the personality of Godhead. One may argue that Brahma, being the original living being, could not be inspired because there was no other living being at that time. Herein it is stated that the Supreme Lord inspired the secondary creator, Brahma, in order that Brahma could carry out his creative functions. So, the supreme intelligence behind all creations is the absolute Godhead, Shri Krishna. In Bhagavad Gita, all Shri Krishna states that it is He only who superintends the creative energy, Prakriti, which constitutes the totality of matter. Therefore, Sri Vyasadeva does not worship Brahma, but the Supreme Lord, who guides Brahma in his creative activities. In this shloka, the particular words Abhigya and Swarat are significant. These two words distinguish the Supreme Lord from all other living entities. No other living entity is either Abhigya or Swarat. That is, no one is either fully cognizant or fully independent. Even Brahma, previous one, Prabhuji, previous one. Even Brahma has to meditate upon the Supreme Lord in order to create. Then, what to speak of great scientists like Einstein? The brains of such a scientist are certainly not the products of any human being. Scientists cannot manufacture such a brain, and what to speak of foolish atheists who defy the authority of Lord. Even Mayavadi impersonalists who flatter themselves that they can become one with the Lord are neither Abhigya nor Swarat. Such impersonalists undergo severe austerities to acquire knowledge, to become one with the Lord, but ultimately they become dependent on some rich disciple who supplies them with money to build monasteries and temples. Atheists like Ravana or Hiranyakashipu had to undergo severe penances before they could flout the authority of Lord. Next. But ultimately, they were rendered helpless and could not save themselves when the Lord appeared before them as cruel death. This is also This is also the case with the modern atheist who also dared to flout the authority of the Lord. Such atheists will be dealt with similarly, for history repeats itself. Whenever men neglect the authority of Lord, nature and her laws are there to penalize them. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 4.7 in the well-known verse Yada Yada Hi Dharmasya Glanihi. Whenever there is a decline of dharma and a rise of adharma, O Arjuna, then I incarnate myself. That the Supreme Lord is all perfect is confirmed in all Shruti mantras. It is said in the Shruti mantras that the all perfect Lord threw a glance over matter and thus created all living beings. The living beings are parts and parcels of the Lord, and He impregnates the vast material creation with seeds of spiritual sparks, and thus the creative energy are set in motion to enact so many wonderful creations.
So here we are seeing one more aspect being explained by Srila Prabhupada very clearly to us. So, because of our poor fund of knowledge, we cannot see beyond the imperfect senses. Now, why we are having imperfect senses is something which is explained very easily. Because they are something which can be manipulated and they do not see the truth. So, there was once six blind men who were walking around and they were not knowing what an elephant looks like. So, they decided that let us see and try to understand what an elephant looks like. So their caretaker, their teacher, he took them to a place where the elephant was tied and he told them just see, feel, and understand what an elephant looks like. So each of the blind person touched different parts of the body and he started imagining what an elephant looks like. Someone who touched the uh, the trunk of the elephant, he thought that, oh, The elephant is just like a big, big pipe. Someone who touched the legs of the elephant, he felt that, oh, elephant is someone who is like a pillar. Someone who touched the body or the trunk of the elephant, he thought that, oh, elephant is nothing but a big, big wall. And someone who touched the ears of the elephant, he thought, oh, elephant is just like a moving fan. A person who touched the tail of the elephant, he thought, oh, elephant is like a rope. And someone who touched the tusks thought that he's just like a playing instrument. So each one was trying to understand the elephant based on what he was being exposed to. But none of that was an elephant. Similarly, we humans, because of our senses, we get exposed to a particular part and tend to devise what that whole would be like. And that is where we make mistakes. And this is because of our imperfect senses and the conditioning of our mind. So it is important that we try to understand what Krishna is only with the aid of a superior intelligence. Because the whole, the Purna, is the source of everything. And it cannot be independent of the, or it cannot be dependent upon anyone. Otherwise, he'll not be the absolute truth. So this is something which we come to know properly through Parampara as narrated by Sri Vyasdev or even in Shruti Mantras where it is documented. And this is the law of nature that something comes from Krishna and again enters into him. In Smriti Mantra also, it is nature. Krishna is the source of everything, but still he remains full. Purnat Purnam Udaya Purnat Uchyate is what is mentioned in Ishopnisad, which we studied a couple of months ago. Materially, the scientists may take it for granted that maybe the planetary system is able to survive because of sun, but then they will not be able to explain who is the source of sun. But all this is taught in Vedic sciences, Vedas, where all this information was made available to Brahma because he was alone when he was created. So it was the Supreme Personality of Godhead only who gave this information to him. And then he could carry out his creative functions. Without an information being supplied, anyone cannot function. There were documentation of even experiments being done of children born simultaneously. A person, a child who is not exposed to any sound is not able to learn or speak and remains deaf. While a child who is exposed to different words is able to learn and becomes a speaker, he is able to speak appropriately. So the child may not be dumb, but if he is deaf, he still becomes dumb because he is not exposed to that knowledge. So similarly, Brahma, if he has done something, he has created something, that knowledge should have been transferred to him by someone, and that someone is nothing but Krishna. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna confirms this, that he is the only one who pretends the Prakriti, which constitutes the totality of matter, which is the creative energy. And that is why you will see that Sri Brahma, Vyasdev Ji, so Brahma is known to be the one who has created everything. He does not worship Brahma. He worships the Supreme Lord who guides Brahma for his creative activities. And that is what is important. Suppose we want to get some work done in our locality, we may approach our counselor. He may do the work and he may help us. He may do it as per his will. If you want to do something in the state, we'll have to approach someone who is governing in the state. He may not, a counselor may not be able to do something which is beyond his counselor limits. Similarly, a state government may not be able to do something in another state, but a prime minister is able to do anything anywhere. So if you approach prime minister, he can solve not only the problems of your council, but anywhere and everywhere. So similarly, Krishna is the originator. He is the controller of everything. And that is why he is the one who is being prayed and worshipped by Srila Vyasdev. Abhidnya and Swarat. These two words distinguish Krishna from the other living entities. Because no one else is Abhidnya, no one else is Swarat. He is the only one. And that is why he is able to do anything and everything. So even if Mayavadis or atheists try to say that, okay, no, we will try to understand this, but finally they are still dependent upon Krishna. Even if they do penances, still the final authority of the Lord remains as it is. We have seen the examples of Hiranyakashipu. He did tapasya for so many years and it took a benediction by which he thought that he will never die. But then Krishna appeared as Lord Narsimha Bhagwan and he ensured that he is punished. Because everyone is rendered helpless when Lord appears as cruel death. Kalaha asmi is what Krishna has said. So we should always respect the authority of Krishna, the authority of scriptures, the authority of nature and her laws. If we don't, then Krishna will come and destroy it. So this is important to understand, is what Sri Vyasdevji has mentioned. These are the reasons he is giving why he has prayed to Krishna directly and not to say Brahma. Hare Krishna. So we'll continue our discussions tomorrow again from 8 p.m. onwards. If anyone has any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, we'll start the chanting session for the day. If there are no questions, I'm sharing the attendance link. You can mark your attendance on that link. Hare Krishna. So welcome everyone who has joined us for the chanting session. Kindly repeat after me.